What's going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, and today I've got a special A.M.A. for you. This one is brought to us from Monica, and she has a question about metabolic flexibility. But before we roll into that, let's dive into the intro. All right, and we're back. Monica asks, "Hello, Robert. What is your take on metabolic flexibility? If someone is on a keto or carnivore diet long term, is it beneficial to include some carbs once in a while so that the body remains efficient at metabolizing carbs? I've read that adding carbs occasionally keeps ghrelin, leptin, and cortisol in check. I know Vince Gironda advocated a carb meal every 4, 5, or 6 days on his steak and eggs diet. This is such a hotly debated topic right now in the keto and carnivore sphere, and I would love to get your opinion. Thanks so much, Monica." You are right, Monica. This is a hotly debated topic within the keto carnivore sphere. All right, so let's just dive into what the theme and the concept of metabolic flexibility is at its core. So basically, it states that you are able to tap into a dual fuel. You're metabolically flexible in the sense that you can run efficiently on both carbs and on dietary fat and stored body fat. It sounds really, really good at the onset. And honestly, like if you're strictly leveraging carbs and a sugar burner and you're stuck on the standard American diet and you don't know how to metabolize fat for fuel, I mean, that's not a good thing. Like most people that have never been keto in their life apart from birth are going to benefit from going ketogenic for a while and learning and letting their body adapt how to metabolize fat for fuel. I think that's great. In that sense, I am all for metabolic flexibility. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper. I don't necessarily think that your body forgets how to use carbs. I'm quite certain that your body doesn't forget how to use carbs and sugar. Sugar and carbs are very quickly metabolized, and once you bring those back into your body, like if you go keto for a long time and then you reintroduce carbs and sugar, it's not like your body forgets how to use those. Like it'll make use of that. That machinery is always there. Now, that said, if you go keto for a while and then you do like a glucose tolerance test and you have a high bolus of sugar for a glucose tolerance test, you may in fact fail that glucose tolerance test, but that doesn't mean you're not metabolically flexible. After a few days or a week of reintroducing carbs and sugars, your body will upregulate that machinery and be just as efficient at using it as it ever was. So I don't feel like you have to go back to it on a regular basis in order to benefit from having that machinery. It doesn't fail you. It doesn't like disappear. That's just not the way our body's mechanics work. Now, when it comes to it being this hotly debated topic right now, it's interesting because, everything goes in like stages and phases and cycles and highs and lows within the dieting community. So you had paleo for a while. Paleo was super hot. Everybody was doing the paleo diet. Then you had keto, and keto was super hot. Everybody's doing keto. Then you had carnivore, and everybody's doing carnivore. Now you've got metabolic flexibility. Everybody's talking about metabolic flexibility. That's the buzzword right now. So at its core, I think it's great. I think being able to go from a standard American diet in which you don't know how to use your stored body fat or dietary fat for fuel, becoming fat adapted and being able to use that is great. Do I think you have to switch back and forth on a regular basis to benefit from it? No, I do not. A lot of people say that you need it from a hormonal standpoint, especially for females. I do not think you need to have carbs in order to regulate your hormones from a female standpoint. Now, a lot of females will have some carbs and they'll be able to get some response from their cycle. Maybe that helps regulate their cycle. But here's the caveat. I don't necessarily think it's the carbs that are doing that. The carbs is just like a Band-Aid fix. If your cycle is jacked up, if your hormones are dysregulated, then it's likely not because you're not consuming enough carbs so much as it is that you're not consuming enough calories. There's a lot of women who will be missing their cycle, have an irregular cycle because they're chronically under-eating, then they'll have a bolus of carbs, get that cycle back temporarily, and assume it's all coming from the carbs. It's likely just coming from the influx in calories. If you were to have a high caloric intake, or a healthy caloric intake, let's just call it healthy caloric intake, for enough period of time to reset your hormones and stabilize your metabolism, you're probably not going to have any issues with your cycle in that regard anyway. So it's not the carbs fixing that problem. So yeah, just to answer that, I don't think you have to go back and forth. I'm kind of a purist in the sense of, I've been strict keto for as long as I have been. I feel great with it. My clients feel great with it. People that have stuck with it do well with it, and it's not like you're sacrificing anything from a performance optimization standpoint. As with most things in life, the more you dive into anything, the better you get at that one thing. And personally, I view going back and forth and flip-flopping between multiple different diets is never the best thing for optimizing on any one diet. I want to be the best I can be from a performance standpoint, from an optimization standpoint, following a diet that I know I can sustain and become a lifestyle with. For me, that is a ketogenic approach, and I've optimized for that approach. I don't feel the need to go back and forth. Now, there is one argument to be made for this concept of metabolic flexibility, and that is if you are someone that just absolutely has to have more variety in your diet and you will not be happy in life if you don't have some carbs, then yeah, go ahead and have those carbs. Do so in a healthy fashion, work it into your plan, and treat it accordingly. But don't feel like you have to have the carbs in order to benefit yourself from a performance standpoint. It's all about sustainability. It's all about what you can adhere to and be healthy with. And if for you that involves having some carbs, then by all means let that be your thing. But again, caveat being, I don't think you're going to be the best you can be from a performance or optimization standpoint if you're constantly switching between multiple different dieting protocols. I don't think you have to have carbs from a performance standpoint. I don't think you have to have carbs from a hormonal standpoint or a metabolic standpoint. Your body doesn't forget how to metabolize carbs and sugar. That's my take on it. Thank you so very much for the question, Monica. It was a great question. You requested some chocolate malt keto bricks, so I've got some chocolate malt keto bricks headed your way. Anybody that does not know how this works, if you submit a question via the Google form link in the description and I use that question on one of these AMAs, I will send you some keto bricks of your choosing. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you next time.